Hello gang, welcome to the channel, and today we're going through one of my favorite game mode, which is ABX, and I'm gonna go day by day with the best characters to use, which CTP to use, and what's the supports you need to have with you, and where to equip your CTP of Insight. So I'm going through all the 14 teams because recently we took some new characters that they seems to be the new meta for some game modes, and I want to make you know the last, the updated list of ABX because last time I released one like 4 months ago or something like this. So let's go one by one the days and see the characters, see my builds also, and what I am using. I'm gonna do a small comparison on the best teams and the teams I have. So let's go through day one. So for the first day we have the blast villain basically, and I'm using leadership of Magneto, support of Cyclops with his old uniform, where this makes him a villain, and Enchantress. Enchantress is the newest update we took for this class and for this day, and the fact that she's giving to all supervillain this buff helps a lot through her new uniform, but I would prefer to equip the Insight on Cyclops, because Cyclops can be used as a leadership, and a support for the hero day also with his newest uniform or his original uniforms. For the Magneto, I mean, there is no doubt that only a mighty rage could fit him, or a brilliant rage, and if you have a brilliant rage on your account, you prefer to go for him because you can use him double on this date, and he's also getting a huge advantage from his skills that he's doing over and over all the time. There's small skills that you need to cancel instant, and the spam takes more buffed through a brilliant rate from the other skills. You don't really actually need his artifact, but it's good to have. It's not something that you really need. So yeah, let's go to day 2. For day 2, it's the no restriction day, so you can use whatever you feel comfortable with, but what I'm using is this team up. I mean, my Jean Grey feels to do the most damage out of my old tier force for ABX, and I'm taking advantage of Black Cat's newest uniform, the big old one, with the CTP of Insight on here, and the extra support could be Ghost Panther, could be Valkyr, or could be Morgan Le Fay. There is multiple others doing similar support as Ghost Panther, but I'm just picking him up. For Jean Grey, you don't actually need her artifact also, but you need a raid or a judgment for ABX, but I would go for a raid 100%. And yes, that's the team, works better for me, but there are multiple other teams like Dr. Octopus team or Gamora team that can make you have huge success on this day where you can use actually anyone. So that's my team up. Let's go to day 3 now. For the third day, we have the universal hero. Here you can use also male and female characters, and the main DPS here for me it's Thor, and I feel like he is the best still after Odin came, because he is kind of bugged, he's not good on ABX. Thor kept his crown and the place in the top of the meta, and the team I'm using depending on his artifact. And what I'm talking about, okay, let me explain you. So the team for Universal Superhero, it's Thor, leadership, Nova and Ghost Panther supports, but that's only if you have on your Thor artifact that has like it's 5 or 6 stars. For a 4-star, the buff you're getting through his passive ability, with this passive ability you're getting a buff that gives you couple of lighting damage because of your lighting resist, so using his leadership boosting your lighting resist, and that's why you see people using his leadership with double support. But if you don't have the 5-star or the 6-star artifact, leadership of Nova Richards gives you more value at the end of the day. This 30% energy attack feels to be better because, you know, the artifact already boosts you even if you don't use him as a leadership, and you know, the 50%, it's not add up a lot for a small artifact like mine. It's only 20% of lighting resist, so even if I have like 100%, it's not a big amount. 30% energy attack feels to be best right now, and that's why I'm using Nova. But yes, I'm not that good with math sometimes, you know. It's him or Nova as leadership, but this is the best that you can use. And now there is an extra free-to-play addition. Except Phylavel, it's also Angela that you can use. So if you missed Ghost Panther or Nova, feel free to replace them for Angela. Angela feels to give pretty much similar buffs with both of them, but yes, it's kind of lowest than the others. So that's the team I'm using, that's the team you should use. Of course, an alternative is Wanda, where I'm using here for female also, but I feel myself doing more with my Thor than my Wanda, because my Thor has better build. So let's go to the next day. Day 4, it's the superhero combat day, and here you can use like Venom or Moon Knight as your main DPS, but I feel like the best team to use is leadership of M'Baku and Valkyrie as supports. Both of them need to have their artifacts, or there are other alternatives like Sith or She-Hulk that you can use for leadership. But if this dude got his artifact, you know, and it's a fat one like mine's, which is a 5-star, and combined with his passive ability that he have here, you can see, not this one, it's his tier 2 passive, yes, he's giving 45% through this, he's giving 30% through his leadership, and after you're getting an extra from his artifact. So if you combine all this, gives you more than She-Hulk, gives you more than Sith, so you want to have him if you have his artifact as a leadership. And I'm using the insight on this dude. I would suggest you to use an insight on this dude, because this is, you know, the best way to go for this team up, because Valkyrie, you want to have a raid for the female day. So you have to have Valkyrie's artifact also, but still, if you have this uniform, she is outscoring the other passive, the other support characters. So yes, M'Baku lead, Valkyrie and Moon Knight or Venom could do similar damage, no doubt. So let's go to the next day. And of course, for Moon Knight, you can use him with an energy and you can use him without the artifact. There's no problem on that. As with Thor, you can do that without his artifact, but a raids could be the best to have the highest score for ABX. But you know, a CTP of energy could work pretty fine with him if you can proc proper with him. I can't, so that's why I use the raids. Let's go to the next day. Day 5 or round 5 is about Blast and male, so Magneto again, yeah, you guessed it right. I'm using this team up with Magneto lead. Again, I told you brilliant raids could fit the best. Cyclops as a support, but because of the lack of supports on this category, there is not a lot of characters that you can get advantage, you know, as a male and blast type that can gives you a buff. I'm using someone like Professor X that give me extra team up buffs. Of course, you can use multiple other characters, but you know, the results is not that big of a difference. So an insight, as I told you before, gonna help you here on Cyclops, raids for Magneto, and that's all for this day. So let's go into the next day, the next round, I could say. So at the moment you have seen that I'm using multiple characters for multiple days, so it's not like you need for every single day have a raid and an insight. Some days are getting double, you can use a character for double days like Magneto, or here like Universal Supervillain. Universal Supervillain, it's Jean, and I'm using her for no restriction day and for the female villain day. So let's go into the round 6, and this girl, which is on fire, literally. The best team up for my team is leadership of Hela, Morgan Le Fay as a support, and if you missed one of these two, you can use your Proxima either for leadership or support, you know, that's one alternative. But Jean Grey is out of your mind, the perfect character to use for this place. You can also go for Black Bolt or Thanos, and they are both really cool too, with double support, you know, Proxima and Morgan Le Fay and their own leadership, but still, Jean Grey in my account and for a lot of people feels like the best case scenario here, and I would go and use an insight here for Morgan Le Fay because you can use here for multiple other days. I have put my mine on Proxima because Proxima was meta before, but yes, either Morgan Le Fay or Proxima could work really nice with an insight for multiple ABX and ABL days. That's my pickup for round 6, and let's go to the next one. And that's Speed Superhero. Here you can use male or female speed type superheroes. And yes, you guessed it right. There's no Luna, there's no Luna, but Gamora feels like the queen of this day. Gamora got her own leadership, so you want to use her as her leadership, you know, as leader basically, and also a raids is the perfect thing to use. Her artifact is not necessary, and the two supports you want to use for her, it's either Wave or Suri, but the best one to use, it's weird, but still I'm getting multiple reports for people using White Fox instead of Wave. And even if White Fox is not giving this buff to Gamora because she's missing the leadership, only from the buffs you are getting from her uniform, the last uniform she has, so you need to have the last paywall uniform, this chain hit damage here, and this all attack stacks up with Gamora's passive ability, and Gamora is doing way more damage with her instead of Wave. That's really weird in my book, but still, that's the truth, and that's the best team to use. Of course, there's other teams, you know, like Gwen or Shadow Cell or Black Widow, but I could go, you know, Gamora, it's way better than any other. After Gamora, I would go for Gwen, Black Widow, and after Shadow Cell, but yes, this is the absolute best team at the moment to cap actually ABX. If you have a tier 4 Gamora, she's doing miracles, dude, you know, you want this team up for the round 7, and the speed female, no, it's the speed superhero day, yeah, right. Let's go to the next one. For round 8, we have supervillain combat type, and here is where Dr. Octopus is dominating this game mode. Dr. Octopus, it's the number 1, and after him I would go for Namor. But the best team up to go for him, it's Abomination leadership that gives you 60% to all combat types, and that's really nice. There are others also giving you similar numbers, like Beast, and I can't remember. Beast with, oh, he's not a villain. Yeah, Abomination is the best, no doubt. Abomination is the best, but I'm using Titania because I'm using Namor. But yes, Abomination is the best for the Dr. Octopus with Taskmaster support buff. Taskmaster, if you have his leadership, if you have his last uniform, basically you get this buff, which is really solid, and there is no other characters that can give you a support from supervillain male dudes, supervillain generally, you know. It's only Titania that gives to strong type characters. That's why I'm using Titania lead with Namor and Taskmaster. For Dr. Octopus, also here you need a CTP of raids. You don't really care if you have his artifact or not, and I would go for the insight on Taskmaster because Taskmaster is one of the best supports in the game. Even if you are Weapon Master or not, you want him for the supervillain stages. He's super useful, especially as a male support, which is really rare in these days. Most of the supports are female, so Taskmaster pays a lot if you have him and if you build him with his last uniform. So Dr. Octopus dominating, after I would go for Namor, and all the others are way behind. So let's go to the next one. The next one is again no requirement, so I would suggest you to use, again the best team, the best scoring team that you can do. It's the round 9, so if you have your Jean Grey, if you have the supports I told you, or use your supports, or whoever generally could generate the maximum damage. Gamora could be fit on this day also. She's doing really high scores most of the times for my account too. So I'm not gonna tell you, pick up yourself, and let's go to round 10. For round 10, it's a more restricted day. It's like universal superhero, but also female. So the only supports that you can actually use, it's Phyla-Vell and Angela. I would suggest you to go with, basically you can use both of them with an insight. I have it on Phyla-Vell, but if I could pick this now, I would go for Angela and double play here instead of Nova. For the day I'm using Thor. With Scarlet Witch, Wanda, you can use here with a CP of Rage or a Judgment. With Judgment, she feels like pretty much the same, and the artifact is totally unnecessary. So Insight on Phyla-Vell or Angela, I would go for Angela, and Scarlet Witch 100% Rage or Judgment. So yes, that's the team. Of course, you have to consider that in the future, perhaps Captain Marvel pick her place and be the best, or someone else from the Marvels movie. We have to wait and see, but at the moment the things are like that for a long time, so yeah, we have to wait and see about that. So let's go into the next round, which is the round 11 for supervillain female, and that's another day what we're using again same characters like I told you before. And the best characters to use on this one, it's again Jean Grey, Black Cat Leadership, and Morgan Le Fay CDB of Insight. You already should have an insight on Black Cat, but also an insight on Morgan Le Fay fits really nice. Jean, as I told you, Rage or CDB of Judgment could fit perfectly on here, and she doesn't really need here artifact. From the other side, you want to have artifact of Black Cat because it's one of the best artifacts in the game. It's a passive support artifact that can support all the team. The only bad news is that she's not usable for more content than ABX and ABL because she's not a tier 3 or awakened character at the moment. She's a tier 2, so yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, I would go probably an insight for Morgan Le Fay on this day, because you can use here for more content as you're understanding, So let's go to the next round, which is round 12, and it's the Speed Superhero Female Day. And guess who? You guessed it right, Gamora again outscoring this day. And even if it's the female day or the free day of speed, she's the queen, she's doing the most damage out there. Even at level 80, she's outscoring the other tier 4s. It's insane, but yes, she is doing a huge amount of damage. And as I told you about Fox, even if she's not supporting her and she's missing the leadership, she feels to be the best support to use with her, only for the chain hit damage. So let's go to round 13. And this round, it's the only round that there is no tier 4. It's the round with Wanda also, but yeah, it's one of the rounds that there is no tier 4 character and there is no insight on the characters. You don't actually need a CTP of insight. You have a 3-way DPS party. It's actually the only day that I'm using, and most of the people using no insight, because you need 3 DPS to go full on. You want to have Rage on all of these 3 characters, and you're swapping from one to the other to go through their rotations. You're doing something like drop 1 rotation with She-Hulk, swapping into Valkyrie, do your rotation, swapping into Titania, drop a rotation, and after go into She-Hulk, drop 2 rotations this time, etc, etc, etc. It's completely a mess there. You need to do it 1 or 2 times to make it happen, but that's the most score you can get using all 3 of these characters with rages and swapping them to do more damage. You're getting less value having, let's say, Valkyrie with an insight. You're getting less damage through these 2 girls swapping from one to the other. So the triple way support, the triple way tag team swap, it's the best strategy, and most of the top meta guys are using this one. So yeah, let's go to the next one. By the way, something I forget about this day is that you have to consider the fact that we're getting Marvel's movie, and there is a girl here, Sai, let me find her, she's going to be there, America Chavez. So if America Chavez gets a tier 4 on Marvel's movie, she feels to be like she's going to replace these girls, but yes, you can't really know, but I'm just dropping it to the table. If you are not just now forming the teams, you need to know where to invest, you know, so don't go really hard on this team up, because others should come really soon, you know, in less than 3 or 4 months, I guess. For the round 14, it's the Speed Supervillain Day. It's another day that you can't really find any tier 4 to use, and the best teams to go for, it's like Green Goblin, it's the #1 DPS. I would go to say that Spot also has a lot of value here. Spot also do similar damage, but I would go for Green Goblin because he is the only character on this league that he's actually 100% performs way better with using a judgment instead of rage. It's the only character that do that thing, and Wanda perhaps it's the second, but Wanda it's really close, you know. Green Goblin judgment is way better than rage. So with him I'm using Black Cat leadership. You can actually use his leadership and go for support of Craven, but I would go for Black Cat all the way if you have his hair artifact. If you have hair artifact, the buff you're getting from it, it's doing, you know, has way more value than go of a Green Goblin support and leadership in the same time. You can see here it's 65 from this, but you can get a 40 here and add another support for 45. But his leadership it's way better, but if you have that and also combined with the artifact. Here also I'm using on here the CTP of Insight, and you know, Green Goblin here, it's my guy. I'm using him also. He's really easy to use, and that's the last team basically. That's the all 14 teams. Let me know your opinion on the list. If you have anything that you're using differently, or you feel like something is wrong or something like this, let me know down below in the comments. I'm here for you, you know. I want the interaction there, and I'm really glad I'm back into the top ABX list, you know. I want to be always updated on this stuff and build the best characters for ABX and ABL. I'm gonna do the ABL list as soon as possible, probably the next week, or I'm not sure yet about the schedule of the channel. Thank you for being here. Of course, I didn't remind you, but do me a favor, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. See you into the next. Kisses in your faces.